Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina. So I'm here with my second Dune vlog, just giving my impressions of what I'm reading. I read the next 200 pages and I'm really enjoying it. I feel like I'm getting a lot more than I did the first 200 pages. So where I left off was the scene where they rescue the men during the worm attack on the desert. And Steve Donahue does a really nice job talking about that as like a literary set piece. I'm going to link his video below because it's really good. That whole section I thought was very interesting, and I really especially enjoyed getting to know the character of Dr. Kynes, the planetologist. So through all the head hopping in this book, you learn a lot about the characters themselves, how they're thinking about the other characters. And Kynes is his relationship with the Duke and the other Atreides is interesting because he's very kind of standoffish. We get this idea that even though he works for the Emperor, he's his own man. He's gone native with the Fremen, the desert dwellers. He doesn't want to buy in too much with this new family. He's the manager of the Change, I think it's called. He's going to give them the tour of the planet, and in the midst of this worm attack happens. Leto decides to rescue the men and give up the spice that they had just mined. And Kynes realized something about Leto, that he's like a noble man. And we're learning about Leto as a noble man. So there's a sense that the Harkonnens were just these, and the Emperor is just like this brutal bastard, and that the Atreides are like these really good people. So we have this kind of good versus evil setup going on. But like one of the commenters in my last video wrote, there's a lot more under the surface than just this like adventure story, like a lot more. And I think that's really what Dune is about. Although I don't want to get too premature because I don't know what it's about really. But I do know that I'm enjoying it, and it's kind of working on me in the way maybe the spice melange does on the people on Dune. I'm finding myself like really into it. I'm carrying it around with me. I'm thinking about Dune all the time. So I don't know if I will extend this interest into the next book in the series, but maybe I will. I'm getting into it, really getting into it. The story continues. So we see the Duke Leto is a really nice guy, but again, there's danger all around him. I know the Baron's going to come back with some wallop punch, and of course he does. So now we have the Baron and the Emperor working together to destroy the Atreides family. Dr. Yueh is the traitor. Now we knew that from the beginning. So he double crosses Duke Leto. But before the Baron shows up to torture him, which we know he's going to do, he gives him this special tooth that he puts in his own tooth. And if he said, it's kind of like a cyanide capsule. Bite down and it'll release this poison gas. Now it will kill you, but it will kill the Baron too. So there's an assassination attempt. So Yueh is trying to kind of mitigate what he's done by that, and also by releasing Paul and Lady Jessica onto the desert. So he's getting them out of there and giving them a chance to escape. So it's very dramatic, but it's told over like many pages. So it's not like action packed, but if you broke it down into those beats, it would be kind of more action packed, I guess. It'd be really interesting to see how the new movie handles it. Oh, and I have been going back and watching the David Lynch movie only up to where I read in the book. And I had not seen that movie since it came out back in the 80s. And I was just totally confused by it because I didn't know Dune. Now that I've been reading Dune, I'm enjoying that movie a lot more. And I see the David Lynchian kind of aspects to it. Especially, I'm wondering if he was attracted to that project because of his interest in meditation. Because there's a lot of cosmic stuff in Dune with the spice melange. It's kind of like a psychedelic pathway to consciousness, this kind of stuff. So the Duke is captured by the Baron. He does bite down on the tooth, but kind of like when they try to assassinate Hitler with the bomb, it doesn't work. So it kills the Duke, but it also kills the Peter de Vries, or I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name. Brad Dourif played him in the movie, and I love Brad Dourif. Anyway, so then Jessica and Paul are now in the desert. Baron's men tell him, oh, well, their Thropter got caught in a sandstorm. There's no way they're going to survive. Of course, we know that they do survive. So once the Duke dies, Paul becomes even more prescient, and it's the spice working on his Bene Gesserit mind, and he's able to see things, and he starts bossing his mom around. And telling her what to do, like to save her life. But there is a power shift now. He's becoming a man, and they run into the Fremen people, the desert dwellers, who have been kind of underground. And he also meets the lovely Chani, who is Kind's daughter, and there's a sense that they're going to fall in love. And I only know that because I remember in the movie Sean Young played that part. So, okay, so that's kind of where I'm at. I stopped right at that point. I really did like the scene when Kynes dies on the desert, and he's kind of thrown off without his still suit, and he's, even as he knows that he's going to die, he's kind of contemplating this, as a scientist, this world, and concludes as he's like drowning in the sand that it's all about like chaos and error and accident. And I thought that was really good. And that's where I think Dune gets into some philosophical questions maybe about nature and how much of this that the world that we live in is all just kind of by accident. So I'm really getting into Dune, and I'm thinking about doing a whole like sci-fi summer reading list because I don't know, I'm feeling the pull of sci-fi. I don't know why, but I'm going with it because it's fun. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for stopping by my haunted library, and I'll see you soon. Bye.